Welcome everyone, this is Alex for the Coaster Spot, and today we are going to talk about Top Thrill 2, the reimagined Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. Now first, I'd like to apologize for the audio quality here. I'm on a headset mic because I am on my Europe trip and currently am in a tiny little cabin in the middle of Finland at one of the most northern parks in the world, Power Park. If you'd like to hit that bell for instant notifications when videos come out, or subscribe, we'll have plenty of videos from all over Europe starting next month. So let's talk about Top Thrill 2. Let's start with the name. I think it's terrible. I think you could have come up with anything else and would have better. Even if you had stuck to the racing theme, I think you could have come out with something more exciting. I think it would have been better, in my opinion, just to move away from the whole Top Thrill moniker so you can move on from all that bad legacy from the accident that severely changed someone's life for the worst and just all the downtime that the ride had. People are still going to know when they pull up, hey, that was probably that old ride, but oh, it looks way different. So, the ride experience, how has it changed? First of all, it's going to be built by Zamperla. Let's get that out of the way. That was, of course, broken by El Toro Ryan over there, and I believed it right away, because at the very least, it was not going to be Intamin again. Intamin has really screwed up so many rides at Cedar Point over the last 20 years that it just doesn't make sense to go back to that same manufacturer when you can get a product from a different manufacturer that could probably provide a more reliable ride and avoid all the headaches of the previous manufacturer. And it is Zamperla. Have they ever done anything this fast or launched? No. But they do have 50 years of experience in the amusement industry. They are the largest manufacturer of rides in the world. The amount of rides they do every year is mind-boggling. And to be the head of this project, you know that they are going to make sure that this thing is running perfectly, because this is the way that they can prove themselves once and for all in the roller coaster industry. Of course, everyone's going to talk about the Wild Mouse, how it had some issues earlier this year, but from my understanding is most of those issues have been ironed out at this point. A lot of new rides have problems at the beginning, and I don't think Top Thrill 2 will be perfect from the beginning, but I do think it will be an improvement overall in the long run. For example, over the last 10 years, with my experience, Top Thrill Dragster was down 50% of the time, if not 75% of the time I was at the park. It was just terrible. And that's why I barely ever rode it, because you never knew what this ride, if it would open on time, if it would stay open. So we can move on from the whole Zamperla thing, and let's talk about the restraints. They're going to be very similar to Intamin's restraints on stuff like Taiga, Terran, Velocicoaster, Sandy's Blasting Bronco. It's going to be pretty much the same thing. A lot of these manufacturers now are coming up with a lap bar and seat design that is very similar. So the trains, I think, look great. They look like an F1 car from a alternate reality. The paint scheme on them being blue, I think is fine. I didn't think anything about it until I just mentioned it now. However, the coaster paint scheme, I think they almost nailed it. But I think doing the red and white thing again is kind of like, okay, we're returning to this, but you're just doing the top of the two towers, making it kind of just look like, in my opinion, a radio tower, especially with the gray supports. I'm glad they went away with the yellow. I always hated that, so I'm happy overall though with that. So let's talk about the ride experience. You're still going to load underneath the station canopy. However, the station has been moved closer to where you entered into the station because they had to fit the launch track for a reverse spike that's being built in the place of where the old track was. So there'll be very little space, it seems, in the station to load multiple trains. I think there'll probably only be space for one or two trains at most. And you're only going to have one station of loading, whereas before they had two stations back to back. It will have 2 extra passengers per train, so it will actually theoretically can do better capacity than Top Thrill Dragster. More trains don't mean better capacity in some situations, and Top Thrill Dragster was definitely the case. As long as they get the trains out quick enough, it shouldn't be much of a problem. So you're going to pull out of that station, make a little S turn to the right with a switch track that will change as soon as you get onto the main track. So you can launch forwards and backwards. The first launch will be 78 miles per hour, and you're going to head up about halfway up that original tower. Then you're going to zoom backwards, which is going to kind of be cool because you're going to have a rollback. Not like a rollback that everyone always wanted to try to get on Top Thrill Dragster, because you'll only be going up halfway up the tower, whereas a rollback on Top Thrill Dragster, you're pretty much all the way to the top. So if you had one of those rollbacks, you definitely are in a different league. You're going to roll all the way backwards underneath that station canopy and up a new tower that's also 420 feet. It's going to be a vertical spike, 90 degrees straight down, and then you're going to launch once again, getting you up to the maximum speed of 120 miles per hour. And then you pretty much do the dragster thing. Up the tower, twist 90 degrees, down the tower, twist 270 degrees, and then hit the brakes. I really wish they would have put in a bunny hop either after the tower or between the two towers to add a little bit of thrill during that launch section. Obviously, it was done the cheapest way possible, but I think that would have made it a much better ride. It's been done on rides like Pantheon, and it's absolutely fantastic. So that's pretty much the ride experience. The queue line will be surprisingly in the infield again. I thought that, considering what happened, that it would be moved to the outside and they wouldn't want to put people anywhere near it. That you're going to have permanent buildings and not just a cloth shade structure protecting you from the sun, but however, protecting you from the train just in case something happens. And I hope in the future, as we lead up to the new ride, that Cedar Point will not hide and actually be transparent, telling the general public everything that they have done to improve the ride and improve safety. Because I really think in this situation it's better to tell a little bit more than you normally would to reinsure people, and just out of respect for what happened. So those are my thoughts. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Comment down below. I'd love to hear what you think about the reimagined Top Thrill Dragster, which I will be calling T2 because it's way easier just to call it that. Once again, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you very soon for another announcement video in 2 days.